Shreyansh, hi, welcome to this system design interview. What I'll do is I'll just go through the apps that I have on my phone and ask you to try to think of the high-level design for one of these apps.
Sure.
Let's say, let's try to design Practo. Practo is a medical app. People use it for appointments with doctors. They also use it for ordering medicines, and sometimes they use it for getting, like asking frequently asked questions or getting like short consultancies, online consultancies with doctors. So, have you used Practo before?
No, I haven't used Practo. But
Okay, so if I talk about some of the very important features in Practo, one of them is to be able to book appointments with doctors. So in that sense, it is a little like um, I don't know if it's book my show. It's more like one person has slots, and a lot of people want to book appointments with that doctor. That's one thing. But you usually have one person, one appointment. You don't have seats. The other thing, which is very important, is to book online consultations during COVID. It was a really useful thing. People were able to book doctors and online consult. The third thing is to be able to order medicines. Now you might be able to do this, let's say, through some other delivery apps also, but Practo, it is specifically for medicine. So it asks you for a prescription. You can upload that prescription. It's going to get validated, and then the medicine will be allowed. So these are three core features. Apart from that, if there is any other feature that you believe is useful for a medical app, medical consultancy app, then you can go ahead. My primary considerations here are that these features are met for a large number of users.
okay, got it. So let me start with my system requirements.
Okay.
So, so let me start with some functional requirements, and then we will go with the non-functional requirements.
Okay.
Okay. So the first would be like book appointments with doctor, and I think second would be to have a consultation. So online consultation would be one.
Right.
Right. And apart from that, we can also have like delivery of medicines. So that could be also one, like because it's particularly to medicines. And we are actually looking at the appointments with doctor. So we can have like cancellation of appointments. Like I'm noting all the features down, and we will like have the priority on that basis. So
Okay.
like we can have a cancellation of the appointment.
That's right. Yes.
And so like for the payment thing, so
Yeah.
will it be charged when we book the appointment, or like when the appointment is done we will charge, like after the appointment or like before the appointment?
Usually it is booked before the appointment. I mean, the charge is made before the appointment. Yeah, usually.
Okay.
So let's assume that all of them are before the appointment. You have to pay before you want an online consultation or an appointment, or you want to order medicines.
Okay, pay before the appointment. And suppose here I can have like if I have cancelled within 30 minutes, like then like from the booking time, then I will be getting like all refund.
Yes, 100% refund. Yeah,
Okay,
makes sense.
so 30-minute timer for 100% refund. And what more can I think of? Like Practo delivers medicines, online consultancy, and so for medicines delivery, do we need like a receipt or something like that, so that we can upload that and then medicines will be delivered, or we can actually order the medicines right away?
You can upload a PNG or a PDF file. There are certain medicines which cannot be given over the counter. So in those cases, they ask for this kind of thing. I think, and I'm not sure,
Okay. So for some exceptional cases, we have to upload photos.
Exceptional cases, you're right. Um However, having not being well is also sort of an exceptional case. So the over-the-counter medicines are very basic often. So I would say around 50% of your cases will be cases where you need to upload a photo
Okay.
or something.
Okay. Can we take that from, suppose I have taken that from the online consultation, like I have booked an online consultation and then I am taking the delivery of medicines. So that can be like a part of it in that case.
That would be great. Yeah, it would take away a lot of the hassle. I don't think they have it right now, but if the system can be designed in that way, yeah, that will be amazing.
Okay. And like here there can be also cases where like the online consultation is not required but the medicine is required, like because
Yes.
the medicine is not available in my locality or something like that and I want to have it online, so there can be
Yeah.
that cases as well. So
Absolutely, yes. There can be cases where a person has consulted some other doctor and is ordering from Practo, or is not has not consulted any doctor, just wants to have a paracetamol.
right. Okay, so I think for now these are my functional requirements. Like you can tell me if I should add anything or I missed anything.
No, I think this is fine. We can start with this definitely. Yeah.
So let me start with the non-functional requirements. So here, like consistency. I think eventual consistency is important, like because all the users in the same locality, like availability would be more of a concern. Like the Practo app should be highly available, and there would be people who are actually ordering from the Practo app. So I think availability would be of much higher priority.
Okay. Okay.
So and it should be fault tolerance. And talking about the consistency, we can have the eventual consistency that we can actually see everything, like everyone can see the same thing at the end. So we can have the eventual consistency. Is that
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds fine. Yes. Fault tolerance. You mean that in case there is a issue, then things still keep working. Okay.
right? So and talking about the latency, so I think we need something of low latency uh, so that it can be delivered with less of hassle. So I think these are some of my non-functional requirements to start with.
Okay. Okay. So you want low latency. You want highly available system which is fault tolerant, and some eventual consistency is fine. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Low latency. When you say low latency, is this in general, or do you specifically see that here we need very low latencies for the request to be accepted or anything like that?
No, like it's in general. Like if we are ordering that should not take much of a time and stuff like that. So
Okay, so low latency in the sense, what would be a trade-off for this? Like, let's say you want a low latency system. In that case, is there a particular metric that you're ready to let go of to bring in low latency?
um, okay, so I think we will think over that. So let me list down or like try implementing it, and then we will come back to
Sure,
this.
sure, of course.
So can we do the capacity estimation now?
Yes, of course.
So let us assume that so how many people are actually using this app? Like can I get the numbers? So I think 1 million of users would be using this app. Is that
Yes, around 1 million, let's say, active users. So active would be in a
Daily active
Weekly.
users.
Yeah, daily is also fine. Actually, let's say the population of India is 1 billion. 1 billion, and then you have how many of these people actually use Practo? So let's say around 10 million, right? Mobile phones, internet access, habits. So 10 million people. Out of these 10 million people, let's say people need to use any kind of medical thing, maybe for their father, maybe for their mother, maybe for themselves. 1 million would be a nice number. Yes, on a daily basis, I would say. Yes.
So the daily active users can be 1 million, and so um, so okay, and some of them are actually having like medicines, like delivery of medicines. Some are actually coming and taking the appointment. So like this daily active users would be the users that are actually segregated via the appointment, delivery of medicines, everything. So I think let us calculate about the medicines that are delivered, the number of people that are actually, or we can actually take into account the number of people that are actually booking the appointment.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so let us assume um, people who are successfully booking the appointment without any cancellation.
Okay.
So this would be like in 1 million we can have 10 plus 6, 10 plus 6.
1% you are assuming is issue. So 10K, I think.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so 10K people, 10K refunds, let's say per day. Okay, that's a decent number. Okay.
Okay. So now we can actually look into the delivery of medicines, like because for the delivery we need the location of people. So so basically we have to actually have the delivery from the like nearby shop that is registered on Practo. So basically we can also think here in the system requirement that shops can actually register on the app.
Okay. So that's a good requirement actually. That's something that people don't consider. It's done on the, let's say, administrator side or on the shop side. However, for the purpose of this discussion, let's keep it aside. Let's assume that that is easily scalable or has been well maintained.
Okay.
Shops registering on the app is, let's say, simple.
And so there can also be that people are registering on Practo app so that we can have like we can do a Google sign in or something like that so that we can instantly order, and we have actually given addresses, and we can actually create user profiles, so we can have that
Okay.
for each user. So so I am adding that to a requirement as of now.
Okay. User profile registration. Okay. That is also great. That's another important thing. However, again, for the purpose of this discussion, we can maybe, because there is nothing, let's say, specific about the user. Like, for example, if it was a social media app, the user profile would be super interesting for me because I would need to maybe, show a profile image and all that. In Practo, let us assume that there is no profile image or any kind of medical details that I want to display. Every time the doctor asks me, and one thing that if you may like to add, you can have medical history. So maybe a doctor, with your consent, can view your medical history.
Yeah, like I was coming to that. Like, suppose I have ordered many times from Practo. Like, I am a daily customer, and I will be getting like more coupons, and like there would be a log of histories that will be visible. So we can also have that as a requirement, like discounts, more discounts, and the log of history that for a particular user.
Right. Okay. Good stuff. So you have the coupons also set up. That's also great. So this is sort of in the payments system. Let's say administrators are adding these coupons, or maybe you're automatically generating them for particular users based on Google Pay and stuff. Maybe if you scratch that card. But having said that, coupons. Let's again keep that aside. History. So let's say amongst the functional requirements, the one that I'm really interested in is booking appointments with doctors, booking an online consultation, and delivery of medicines. These three things are like, yeah.
Sure, sir. I'll take that into account, but I was listing all the requirements so that.
Sounds good.
And so here, like for delivery of medicines, like we can calculate the number of people who are actually taking the medicines. So, and that would be from a nearby shop, so that there's less of hassle, and like we can have like optimization there as well. Like if an agent is going there and there are 4 or 5 deliveries, so they can be delivered at the same time. But we will think on that later. So that is not a requirement as of now. So delivery of medicines, let me assume that from these 10K people, 5K people are actually ordering medicines from Practo. Like 50% are ordering medicines from Practo. And like those who have consulted.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, and there can be another 10,000 people that that hasn't taken any consultation and need medicines. I'm taking 10K because it's a double number, like because it's very low that people who have actually consulted and ordering medicines from there. So yeah, so I'm just taking a 10K number. Tell me if I have to assume something else.
No, 10K is fine. I think 50%. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Let's go ahead with it. Oh, you mean to say, 1 second, let us assume people who are successfully without cancellation. Oh, 1% of the daily active users actually buy medicines, is it?
Right.
Okay, that's fine. So delivery of medicines, 5K medicines have to be delivered, and 10K are taking medicines. Okay. Without a prescription. Okay. Without consultation. Okay. Got it. Okay.
So here it would be total of 15K. Okay. Daily active users. So these are some of the estimations that I was looking at. Tell me if any more estimation is needed.
No, this is fine. I think let's go ahead with it. The intent of this estimation, Shreyansh, did you have any concern that maybe the system will not be able to scale in this particular point, or there is I'm seeing that the number of requests on this particular service or this particular API are going to be so huge, I have to probably cache it or something like that?
Okay, so caching is actually, we will come to that on the scaling part. Yeah, I think caching would be required for the users that are actually ordering like on a regular basis. So if it's cached, like we can have a thing of like so that like a global cache or something, or a mem cache based on the design. So we will come to that. Like, let me start with the design first.
Okay.
So I think here, like the reads and writes are pretty good. So we can actually look at the design first, and then we will come to the database. So do you want me to jump in the database part, or let us see the design part?
Whichever side you feel is more comfortable. If you go from the database side of things, you might have to imagine more. If you go from the design side of things, that sounds like okay, more like a user flow. But whichever one you prefer.
Okay. So let me start with the third requirement, that is the delivery of medicines. So I will start with the delivery of medicines first. So for the delivery of medicines,
Okay.
I think I have to think of a location-based database. So,
Okay.
so basically, for the location-based database, that I can think of is like the locations are actually a 2D plane. Like we get the locations in 2D plane, and so basically, I think here I have to let me draw it.
Yeah.
So I am thinking of a quad tree as of now.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
like we are actually having a 2D plane, and the locations are in 2D plane, and so like quad tree would be best for having the 2D plane. And so one more thing that I am thinking of is searching from 2D plane is very difficult because we have to actually have both the vertices. So we can actually convert this 2D into 1D, and like so that can be like a Hilbert curve. And so basically, let me tell you more about more. So this is kind of quad tree, and this has some thing like A, B, C, D, and type of Hilbert curve would be like this.
Okay. Okay. Before we get to that, Shreyansh, can you, so for example, we can build a quad tree, or these solutions are interesting, but can you think of any off-the-shelf solutions which can actually do this for you, so that you can just focus on the service instead of the internal solution? You'll have to build it, test it. You might have to design it. You might make mistakes.
Sure. I can think of any other solution as well. So
Okay.
another solution that I can think of here for the delivery of the medicines would be like a Google. I will be using a library of Google. Like that is a spherical library. That
Okay.
actually is suppose this is your location. You are staying
Okay.
here and the shop is here. So it will actually calculate the Euclidean distance between the shop and you to have
Okay.
like the best like possible shop out there. And I am
So
talking about
yeah, if you can name the library, Shreyansh, I might remember it. Is it the Google library? Which library are you talking about? There's a Google library, S2 library.
spherical S2 library.
Awesome. So I think, yeah, that actually that's wonderful. You can use the S2 library, its APIs, or its the functions in it to basically find nearby people.
Right.
Okay,
So-
that's great.
So here I am also calculating the Euclidean distance because the routes may not be like a straight point to the location. So there can be, we know that the routes are different for different locations. So that is why I am calculating the Euclidean distance here. So
Okay.
that is how like I will be thinking of a delivery part, and let me think on like so basically.
So yeah, you might want to use a top-down approach, like for delivery of medicines. Yeah, I think over here in text you can probably write down that the rough, very high-level algo. Like, yeah, spherical S2 library is being used for its APIs. You are probably persisting the location for every shop. You have mentioned that in point number 7. So let's assume that their Euclidean distances, I mean to say their coordinates are stored, which is great.
So now, like booking an online consultation. So, like here we can actually divide that into two categories. Like the consultation would be a video consultation. So
Shreyansh, sorry for again coming back to this. Like, you have the spherical library, which is great. It gives you a lot of APIs. We also discussed about how those shops are going to be persisted in your database. Now, I'm also thinking like, okay, if there is a delivery that needs to be made, how will you make that delivery? Like, are you going to track the locations of people who do the delivery executives, them, and the person who's making the order, their location is there with you. That is static. The shop location is, let's say, static. Is this delivery person's location dynamic, or are you going to call everybody in the Hyderabad city and ask them that this is there. If you fulfill it, I'll give you 100 rupees.
So basically, I would actually use that this particular like uh, for this particular shop, I will have the delivery locations, like the delivery executives that are registered on the shop, and those who are close to it can actually make this delivery possible. Yeah.
And okay, how will you identify if they're close to it? Are you going to track their locations, or are you going to say that you stay near Gachibowli, or you stay near Marathapalli, any location, and this is basically up to you. You have to do it.
So basically, what I am planning for is the delivery executives that are in a particular location. So basically, tracking the location won't be much of use, because there would be a lot of data that we will be actually having it. So basically, delivery executives can pull the data that the shops are located here, and if they want to deliver it, and they seem that they are close to it, then they can actually like have a service,
Okay.
and then they can actually deliver that.
Okay, that's great. So basically, you're offloading that matching problem to the delivery executives. You're giving them options, and if they feel like they're choosing.
Right. So yeah, I think this is how I'm planning at the first, and I think if there are changes, like we will discuss on that. So let me go with so here that as I was mentioned, like book online consultation. So online consultation can be booked, and after the online consultation, like we will have a video call where the consultation would, there is an offline online consultation, and so we can have a video call consultancy consultation. So I can mention that here as well.
That's great. Okay. I think you have the video call consultancy. Okay. So yeah, this is important, but I don't want to dig too deep into it, because like we are having a video call right now over here. It's going to be something similar, I assume. Could you tell me the technology you will be using for actually making this video call, like
Sure.
between you and me? If
So-
you're the doctor, I'm the patient here.
So I think the protocol that the video call consultation should use would be WebRTC.
Okay.
Because we can actually have video calls on that protocol, and we don't need a streaming thing, so we won't be going to other protocols, that is RTMP and things like that. So I think WebRTC would be great here.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. You have.
So
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. So that takes care of, I think, video call consultation also. Okay. Again, because we are, I'm sorry, it's I'm basically just getting the thumbnail images of the things that you're designing. In terms of history or logging, uh, what kind of a system, like, are you going to be, how will you actually log people's history? That this person purchased this medicine, this person consulted this doctor. Are you going to be, what kind of a architecture would you be looking for? Sorry, again, very high level view. Yeah, sorry for that.
So I am looking for ELK logs. So basically,
Okay.
I can have the history of the log that people have actually did the consultation. We can actually show the people as well, on a notification basis. We can also have a Kafka where we can actually give people the notification and send the email. So we can have that as the requirements as well, sending the notification to people, and that is one thing. And I am looking for the logs part. I am looking at the ELK logs. So
Okay.
I think that will actually help here.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you mentioned Kafka, you mentioned ELK. So if I do a lot of stuff, right, everything is going to the ELK stack. Like, basically, it's being stored in Kibana.
Right.
So are you going to, in terms of history, the things that I want to see, are there particular, how are you going to show that? Like, for example, on day number X, 3 days before you ordered some medicine, 2 days ago you ordered this. So in the logs, there's going to be a lot of logs. So are you going to specifically send only user events to a particular log, or are you going to shard that? How are you going to do that?
So basically, we can actually have a session where we can actually have an active session that like. So basically, suppose you are a user A and you have come to the app. So you will be having an active session ID, and for that session ID, there would be like we can have a service like we can actually provide 30 days of logs, and like if there is more than 30 days, like we can have a counter that if there are more than 30 days of log, then like we cannot provide that. That is based on the system requirement actually. So
Yeah.
do you want that like the 30 days thing is fine, or like I have to have the log
Yeah.
for the whole 1 year?
So my idea here was that I probably didn't describe it properly. The history that I want to see is my medical history, not so much the history of the events which have happened. But having said that, I think if we look at it in terms of the code the history of that, like what happened, so that you can debug or you can get back to the user saying this was the payment issue or stuff like that, then this is perfectly fine. I now understand why you went for ELK. Makes a lot of sense. I was also like, even if you have all this log stored in ELK and you want to show the history to users, you can probably grep, you can probably filter out based on maybe tags or
So-
that will be fine.
So here, one more thing that I wanted to add, and that is like a major functionality. So basically, we can search the medicines. So
Okay.
so here like
Shreyansh, just before we go over there, delivery of medicines, I think you have taken care of. Online consultation, again, I think you have taken care of the way in which the video call will be done. Searching medicines, let us assume that they have their own, Elasticsearch, something which helps them search
we can
complex
also
queries
have
also.
scatter and gather. Like
Scatter and gather. Okay, so you will spread it out in multiple Elasticsearch nodes or whichever nodes you like, and then you will gather the results. That's great. Let us assume that is taken care of. Let's come back to booking consultations. How will you, as a user, book a consultation with a doctor?
okay.
Online consultation, which has to happen immediately. Like,
So basically, for that, I will suppose I am a user. So basically, if I go to the app and like I will be searching for a particular doctor that has proficiency in this particular like expertise in this particular domain. So basically, suppose I am looking for like I am having a fever, or then general orthopedic is also fine. So I will be actually looking on the doctor's profile before having a consultancy. So for that, I can actually have a RDBMS like where I can actually store the user's data. Basically,
Shreyansh, I'll make the requirement even simpler. Because I have used the app. These guys, they've done it really smartly. What they say is, Gaurav, if you have a problem, just raise your hand, and for the next 30 seconds or 1 minute, we will search for a doctor online.
Okay.
And we'll match you with that doctor. This doctor could be from Kashmir. This doctor could be from Kanyakumari. Doesn't really matter, from Gujarat, from Assam. But you can be in Madhya Pradesh. You can be in the center of India, and you can avail these consultancies from anywhere at home. So you don't even know who you're matching with. That's the if you book an appointment, then yes, you have to tell that I want to book an appointment from this time to this time. But there are certain things which are just I have an ailment, I want to be looked at right now. Consultancy happens.
Okay.
So that is what I'm looking at. Like, for example, even at Interview Ready, if you press instant interview, you get matched with any other person who wants an instant interview. So how would you go about doing that in the system?
Okay. So basically, like this is a matching feature. Like
Yes.
So basically, for matching two persons, I would be actually having. So basically, there is actually a need that two persons, like the doctor should be available in that time, and the person that I'm matching should actually match with that doctor. So basically, there can be an availability that this particular time this doctor is available. So like we can have a like user data where this will be available that for this particular time, this is the availability of the doctors. And based on that availability time, if I am actually registering on the portal, like I will be first booking and giving the time, and then I will be getting a notification that this time has been booked. So on that basis, like which of the doctor that is available will be mapped to my like request, and can both be matched. So,
okay, that's interesting. Yes. So okay, sorry, you were saying something. Yeah.
So yeah. So let me mix. So this is basically a booking service.
Okay.
And this is basically the profile service.
Okay.
This can
Is this the user?
a load balancer,
Oh, okay.
and this can be the user.
Oh, that's fine. I think let's assume that the user is connecting to the load balancer. Okay, yeah, this is good. Booking service. What is PS? Payment service.
No, PS is profile service.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So booking service would actually have the data. Basically, a session kind of thing.
Okay.
And we can also have like multiple services out there. Here, like we are not discussing
Right.
that. So I'm not,
Yeah, that's totally fine. So in the booking service, acha. So a user said that I am not feeling well. I would like to book an appointment with a doctor right now. So you go to your booking service. This has a 1-minute timer, and now what needs to happen is on the back end you need to find me an active doctor. So yeah, that what not an active doctor, a doctor who says yes, I want to take this
time that is available based on the availability. So this is actually a match service. So in booking service, like we have a match service, and match service like so basically we can actually think of a queue, messaging queue where we can actually, or like an event bus where we can actually put, because there would be many people that are actually booking and having that availability, that 6 to 7 is my availability, and I want that doctor in that particular availability. So I think like that doctor will be actually subscribed to a particular a doctor, and based on the availability time.
Okay, so let's say Shreyansh, that you are a user, right? You are this user here. You said that please. I mean, let's say I skipped the load balancer, which is not possible actually, but okay. I went to this booking service. What is this booking service exactly doing? Matching service, is it? Okay. And then your doctors here. Basically, the doctor is not doing much. They just have to be active on the platform. Once this booking request comes in, you basically want to show this to the doctor, notify the doctor, and the doctor should be able to say yes. If that happens, then you store that match. Oh, okay. I'm now understanding what you're saying. Okay.
So yeah, that is what I'm thinking, like of a high-level architecture that is at first. So let me go to the requirements. Like now let's consider about booking appointment with doctor. Okay, we have considered that. Booking online consultation.
Booking online consultation, a little more detail would not be a bad idea. Basic idea I understood. People are coming. Okay, so just to summarize, if I've got this right, you are taking appointment requests in your booking service. You are then notifying doctors who are online that, hey, you are an orthopedic. This person has a bone problem. Do you want to look into it? You are a pediatrician. This is a kid who has an issue. You can look into it. That is what you're doing, right? You're filtering. And then within 1 minute, if there is a response, then you match these people into the matching service. Okay.
Right. Because there will be 1 minute delay also. That is fine in accepting the request, I think.
Which is which is fine. You're going to be then keeping these people, like you're going to show a 60-second timer or something, and then when people are matched, you just send them to a room, basically like this. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So Shreyansh, this is good. Booking appointments with doctors, I think is fine. Basic idea. I think you know how you would do it. Like if you can describe in 1 minute, how would you go about doing that? Just at a very high level. Sorry for the lack of time. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that is fine. So booking appointment with doctor would be like, suppose that doctor has actually like was notified and he actually responded that like he can actually take that call. So basically, we will actually pair that and we will actually send like we will actually generate a link and send both of them, like this is the link that you have to access, and based on like we will actually send that link instantly, and we will also give a reminder of 30 minutes like that you can join this link to both the users, and so yeah, we can actually
that makes sense. That makes sense. So you're almost setting a calendar invite. You're basically making sure that 30 minutes before you send a reminder, you tell the doctor that hey, your calendar is booked. And what's happening now is, so there is a slot, and this slot, once it is booked, there is some locking that you'll probably have to look into. Like if multiple people are trying to book at the same slot, it's a little like Book My Show. It's a little less complex because obviously you have lesser users also trying to book the same slot, plus you have lesser seats and all that.
So basically here that I am looking for is an optimistic consultancy law. So basically here, suppose the doctor has booked that particular slot, then the doctor would not be reminded or like notified about the same slot for that particular user, and that's a block like state. And after that state is completed, then he can actually get other requests.
That's right. Okay, so this is great.